Hey guys, welcome back. This is your old buddy Tim in the Revolved Realty studio with my new old buddy Alisha Merriman. How are you?
I am doing great.
Good.
Thank you.
If you don't know who Alisha is yet, she is a local real estate investor, flipper, designer. You do a little bit of everything when it comes to real estate.
Yeah. I'm trying to embark on the buy and holds Airbnb.
Yeah.
On a new topic.
How's that going?
It's going great.
Yeah?
Yeah, hot market.
Do you have any Airbnbs yet?
I've got one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Chelsea's got two. She swears by those
man.
things. Who would have thought that people would hers are both out on county line, and one is behind that at the flea market. They are rented out all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know Huntsville had such a hot Airbnb market.
Yeah, we opened up ours for
video on that.
48 hours, and it was booked for 2 months.
Wow.
I had no clue, the volume.
Yeah, when you do, and we'll do a whole video on Airbnbs, but basically you register the property on Airbnb. People can make the reservations online. They have to pay up front.
Yeah.
And just a great thing. It's all about location, which is the topic of this video. What we've been talking about in this series is investing, flipping. We're going to talk about Airbnbs, that sort of thing. Alisha is very successful in that. Check out the other videos in the series. We talked about the time frame to flip. We talked about the cost. We talked about where to find the deals. We talked about the criteria that you use. This video, we want to talk about what I think is one of the most important aspects of the whole thing, and that is location.
Yes.
Why is location so important?
Location determines, obviously, why you're doing it. For that sell price, that number at the end, So something that is very obvious to a lot of people, you're wanting to find that ARV number, the after repair value, that's sitting around the neighborhood is at least worth $130,000, upwards of $160,000, and that's the number that I've chosen for my flips.
It's a good mid-range neighborhood.
Yeah, most people can afford that. And so that's really the range that I like to stay in for my full-scale flips. Now, as far as what areas do I look for, I actually haven't had the opportunity to do too many in Madison County. Majority of my homes, I think I've done 3 in Madison County. Yeah. And so majority of my flips actually land in the Tier 2 area. And if you were to look at a map of the different tiers, for Huntsville being Tier 1, Tier 2 would kind of fall along the exit 65 and 565, so the edge of Limestone County, Decatur, the edge of Morgan County. And then Tier 3 would be a little bit further out. That's actually going to be Moulton and Scottsboro and Coleman County.
So tiers are really just geographic
geographical
areas.
maps.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I prefer the Tier 2.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. One, I love the fact that I'm actually attracting the buyers that along the interstate exits. Okay, so being close to an interstate exit means a lot. And 65, actually, if people are working in Birmingham, they can jump and make a straight shot straight to work.
Point.
Yep. And I mean, it's very convenient for them there. So Tier 2, and that's a map that you can easily look up online. That's kind of the area. And then there are other reasons, such as the competition. So there's a lot of investors in Huntsville, Alabama. So if you actually look it up, the median income last time I checked was around $98,000 a year.
It's very high, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's all these damn engineers.
Yes.
And I mean that with the utmost respect.
You better say that.
But, well, I think that, number one, this area, if you look at location just in general, Huntsville, Madison, Athens, to a degree Decatur, statewide, this is the location to be.
Yes.
Because it's all growing. Within, they say, 5 years, Huntsville is going to be the largest city in the state. We have all this industry coming in. People need places to live. So from a very general standpoint, that location matters. But then you break it down, for example, in Madison, because of the schools, that's
Bob
great
Jones.
Location. Now, not everywhere in Madison's a great location.
No. But Hartsville's a fabulous market too.
Priceville is good.
Yes.
South Decatur is really good.
Yep. And so that's that Tier 2 area. So it's less competitive. People like being, you're not really fighting against all the other investors in the hub of Huntsville, And I think they're easy to move properties because generally you're close to an interstate exit. And now let's talk about a little about permitting and inspections.
Okay.
Now, Limestone County and Madison County, Morgan County, they all have an inspection process during your renovations, your flipping. And for sure, that's going to happen with like your HVAC, your septic tank, those kind of things. But in the counties outside of Madison County, like Limestone, Morgan, Coleman, Marshall, these surrounding counties, it's a lot easier. The inspectors are not pushed on this really tight time frame because there's a limited number of inspectors and there's a large number of homes for sale in Huntsville.
Right.
So you are kind of at a waiting game. You're waiting on these guys to get on their time schedules. And so that's something to take into consideration. Time is money.
Well, it is. It's a great point. I think the other thing that, and you talk about this in another video, and I think this pertains to location, is when it comes time to sell, is the location a selling factor or is it a hindrance? You know what I mean? If you've in a location that's really unappealing to, let's say you are going to be in a neighborhood where the school districts are not great.
Right.
Well, that may be a great location for folks who don't have kids.
Yes.
But for folks that do, so I think as you look at the location, you need to look at how does that enhance or inhibit the resale.
Exactly. So if I'm looking for a property that does have a bad school district perhaps, or let's say not as good as some of the other ones in the area, then I would look for a smaller house, a 3-2. I'm not going to look for that, or a 3-1 even. I'm not going to look for that 4-bedroom plus property. That would be something that would kind of sway me. So just use your common sense whenever, and be aware of the surroundings. You want to stay in that Class A, Class B, Class C plus neighborhoods if you can. Well, the C and D neighborhoods, those are rental, so they're predominantly rental homes, and that's what does well in the area. Flipping may not do so well in that area.
Well, I think that's a good point, though, because a lot of folks who rent, and this is not a class thing. Some people rent, some people buy. The people who buy are more picky about things like school districts and that sort of thing. So I think location's not only a factor, but are you going to flip it to sell or are you going to flip it to rent?
Exactly.
And if there's two very different scenarios there, if you're going to do the rental as you are opposed to just try to sell it.
Yeah, so there is a rehab method called a BRRRR method, and that's something we're going to talk a little more in depth on later on, but it's buy, rehab, rent, and refinance. Right? So once you refinance, you can repeat that process.
Right.
Well, the BRRRR method, so you're still rehabbing, but you're doing it with the intentions of not having any phone calls as Mr. Landlord, right? You don't want all those repairs. So you do them all on the front end, and you're not going to get that phone call for the next 5 or 6 years. You're just going to be cash flowing that check. But then if it is going to be a resale property, then you do need to consider that if you're in a high rent area, or every property is a rental, then you need to consider that that's going to be a harder property to move.
Yeah, and Decatur is a very big rental market.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of, I think the owner-occupied is less than half last time I heard.
Yeah.
So that's a very good rental market if you want to be in. I think there's other things you have to think about when you talk about location, and that's not just now, but in the future.
Yes.
Is that especially if you're going to hold it and rent it, is that location going to continue to go up, or is it the neighborhood going to go down? Just lots of things to think about when it comes to location.
Yeah, because I think that whenever you're buying the house to rehab it as a full-fledged flip, these individuals who are purchasing it, this is their forever home a lot of times, and they don't want the neighborhood to be a question mark. They want it to be an exclamation mark.
Right, good point.
They want to know for sure that this is going to be the stability of the area. And so that's kind of a problem that a lot of new developments run into, because all the construction, that's one of the first concerns. Are they going to build right there in my backyard?
Nobody wants to be the first house in a subdivision. We're dealing with a client now. I mean, this is a subdivision of $300,000-$400,000 homes, but you know, she was one of the first ones in, and now she's not really enamored of the homes that are going up around her. But anyway, so things to think about. So location is a very big thing. Think about that before you buy the property and when it comes time to sell, because it's either a plus or a big negative. Yep.
And I stay for my full scale flips. I stay out of Madison County for the most part. I like that tier 2 area. It's less competitive. I think the inspection process is easier. Permitting is easier. Your guys, they don't give you as much headache because they're not getting breathed down their neck,
right.
you know. I just prefer it personally, and I think everyone's got their own methods, but that's been mine.
Yeah. So really, what you're saying there is all of those things come into play as to whether or not you want to deal with a flip in that location.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's one of the first things I take into consideration whenever someone sends me the address. I figure those out immediately, you know?
That's good. Good deal. All right, so there you go. We have talked about time frame, cost, where to find deals, how to value particular flips, and now location. Next time I want to talk a little bit about the financing.
Okay.
Because unlike you, who has buckets of money just laying around, some folks don't, and they have to rely on different kinds of financing, so we won't talk about that. If folks want to get in touch with you, how do they do so?
Well, my company name is Home Resurrection, so the best way to contact me is via email, homeresurrection@gmail.com. And, of course, you can keep up with all of our current projects, our clients' projects, ongoing flips, new buys, that kind of stuff on our Facebook /Home Resurrection, and the same at Instagram.
Awesome. And as always, if I can do anything for you when it comes to real estate, give me a call, 679-0704, or email me, tim@revolved.com. This is so much fun. Awesome. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the money.
The money.
Show me the money or lend me the money.
Right.
All right. See you later.
Bye.